Commissioners. If we will come to order, we will begin the monthly meeting of the Anderson County Commission Budget Committee. Robbie, if you would, call the roll, please.
Here. Here.
Here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let the record reflect we do have a quorum. Barely, but we do have it. If you would, join me in prayer, please, and we will ask Commissioner Vandergriff if she would lead us in prayer. Heavenly Father, we give you honor and praise today. We thank you, Lord, for all your many blessings. We thank you, Lord, for salvation. We thank you, Lord, for the counseling that you give us each and every day if we're willing to accept it. Please forgive us of our sins, the times that we're not willing to accept it, times when we lean to our own understanding. Lord, we ask, God, that you be with us during this meeting. Lord, let us seek your wisdom, your guidance in the decisions that affect your people. All this we ask in Jesus' holy name. Amen.
Amen.
Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioners. Next item on the agenda is appearance of citizens. Any citizens in the audience that want to address the Budget Committee at this time? Seeing none, we'll move on with the approval of the agenda. If it please the members, we need to add under the contract section 2 new contracts. Robbie,
Yes.
Did you pass those out?
I did.
You have those on your table, Commissioners. Also, the 2 budget amendments that the Finance Office has added as well. You'll find those laying on your table. And under the end of your agenda, section new business, so that'll be section F, if you'll write that in. Sheriff Barker would like to address the committee on a salary budget request. Anyone else have any additions to the agenda?
I have a question, please. Are those have those contracts been approved by the law director?
The one has the CSEP contract has been approved. They both have been.
Okay,
yes.
awesome. Thank you.
Do we have a motion to approve the agenda with those additions?
Motion to approve.
Commissioner Vandergrift moved to approve the agenda. Do we have a second by Commissioner White? Let the record reflect Commissioner Allen is present.
Thank you.
That brings us up to 6. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried. Moving on, contracts with legal approval. Director Holbrook.
Sure. So under section 3, there are 10 contracts, 9 canon and 1 National Institute for Excellence in Training for middle schools, from the Board of Education.
Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Vandergrift to approve contract items A through J.
Yes.
Seconded by Commissioner Allen.
Yes, sir.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
So contracts pending legal approval, there are 6 of those. 5 have been approved. The only one that hasn't been approved yet is the S&ME school maintenance contract for asbestos.
That's A.
4A, yes, 4A, sorry.
Motion to approve.
Commissioner Vandergrift moves to approve items 4A through 4F as a group.
Second.
Has a second by Commissioner Allen. Any discussion?
I have another question. Robbie, do we have an idea of what that pricing is? It says it's itemized per test. Is there any like rough idea? And I did not read that contract, sorry.
It varies depending on the test.
Okay, but it's not exorbitant amount of money, right? Okay,
We already used this.
Yeah, we use that, it's just trying to do every year.
Okay.
We have to do lab testing, we have to do asbestos testing, we gotta do, mold testing.
okay. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried. Next item, capital asset surplus requests.
Do you want me to do the 2 contracts we added as well here?
Yeah.
Or is that under new
Okay,
business?
that'll be good.
I don't even. Okay, there are 2 contracts, both have been approved. One is a EMS contract, and the other is a CWI Works SCSEP with Ethra contract that both have been approved by the law director as well. And I handed those out to you.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Palmer to approve,
Second?
second by Commissioner Allen. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
Thank you. And there are, under section 5, there are 2 capital asset requests, both from the school nutrition program for two refrigerators.
Motion to approve?
Commissioner Allen moves to approve the surplus request. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Vandergriff. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried. Next, cash and fund balance report. Director Holbrook.
Ending February 28th, 2026, cash and fund balance. I'm going to do this quickly. Unassigned fund balance, $11.3 million. Total fund balance, $14.5 million. Cash, $20,107,551, which is down $5.2 million from last February. The school's 11.7 fund balance, 23.4 million cash. On the cash for the general fund, our revenue is short from last February, 1.3 million, which when we received the SRO grant, that would kind of break us even. And we, last month we were like 10 million over expenditures. This month we're down to 5 million. So our revenues did increase quite a bit this past month. So, but our cash is still down.
Any question about the cash and fund balance report? Hearing none, moving on.
All right. Sales tax, this month for Anderson County as a whole, 5.4 million, up 8.7%. The Anderson County portion, 704,177. That's a 16.8% increase. And last month when I did a comparison for the fiscal years, I projected some numbers a little too much. So with the general fund, it's a $230,000 increase, projected increase. The schools are 1.2 million. I think I said 2 million. Dr. Parrott quickly corrected me on. And the highway department's 130,000. I was comparing to the wrong month in the thing, but I wanted to make that clear. And I'll hand these out for commission as well.
Any questions on the sales tax report? Hearing none, moving on.
Okay, the ARPA projects report, we do have $31,589 in interest. Still, 6 projects still not completed, but as we've talked about, we expect those to be completed by December 26th.
Any questions about the ARPA list? Hearing none, moving on.
And our grants list as well. There's no new grants from last month. We have $27,563,145 in grants this fiscal year.
Any question about the grant inventory report? Hearing none, moving on. Brings us to our amendment requests. Go ahead, Robbie.
Okay, transfers not requiring commission approval. There are 1 through 9. Seek approval as a group. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Commissioner Palmer moves to approve items 1 through 9. Do we have a second? Second. Second by Commissioner McNabb. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
Okay. 10 through 17 are appropriations and transfers from the school department, seeking approval as a group.
Motion to approve as a group.
Commissioner Allen moves to approve items 10 through 17 as a group. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Vandergrift. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
Thank you. So 18 and 19 are from the highway department. The first one is a $3,000 increase from restricted for highway for license, and the second one is insurance recovery, $6,200 for guardrail replacement.
Motion to approve.
Commissioner Vandergrift moves to approve items 18 and 19 as a group. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner McNabb. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
Okay, number 20 is from Fleet Services. It's an increase of $9,000, increasing, it says decreasing, but it's increasing revenue, fleet service revenue, $9,000 as well for tires and tubes and other contracted services.
Motion to approve.
Commissioner Allen moves to approve item number 20. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Vandergrift. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
The next one is from the Conservation Board, increasing maintenance and repair service to vehicles, $7,500 from their committed funds restricted for general government, parks and recreation, to repair their dump truck. This also was passed in the Conservation Board minutes, which I attached, the November meeting.
Motion to approve.
Commissioner Allen moves to approve item number 21. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner McNabb. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried. Johnny, let me apologize. I forgot all about moving you up. I am so sorry. It went right. Somebody said that before the meeting that I forget, and they were right. I apologize. Folks, I know we're in well, let us finish with these. Hang on just a
There's
second.
one
Go
more
ahead, Ron.
amendment. It's from
Yeah.
EMS for a grant, $30,303.03, increasing EMS equipment, grant, other equipment.
Motion to approve.
Commissioner Vandergrift moves to approve item number 22. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Allen. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried. Folks, unless there is an objection, I forgot, can we move reappraisal options Johnny Alley up to the top of the section at the bottom, please?
So be it.
We want to do
Second.
that formally. Okay, got a motion, a second, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Motion carried. Johnny, you have the floor, sir.
I have with me occasionally with CTAS, he's gonna explain the reappraisal and index, new valuation process that the division property sector approved. And of course, Gabe had a PowerPoint, but Josh said it just went down and he can't get his PowerPoint to come up, so Billy's gonna
little bit different, but, I mean,
Yes. And we can forward that to them just later on.
yeah.
I can have it forwarded to you whenever. They lost connection in the back, so there's no access to the TVs for them.
Go ahead, sir.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you this afternoon regarding, quite frankly, regarding indexing. I applaud this commission for being progressive already last year in moving from a 5-year reappraisal cycle to a 4. That is absolutely a step in the right direction. As I come in tonight or this afternoon and speak with you, I really want to give you some foundational things. How did we get here? And as you probably are well aware, the traditional 5-year reappraisal cycle has 2 ratios, one in year 2 and one year 4 of that cycle. Those ratios have become somewhat detrimental to the county revenue streams, as we've seen at least the last 5 years, because of the impact of those ratios, because it creates an adjustment, an equalization adjustment to personal property and public utilities. Anytime there's an adjustment to those particular property types, it reduces those assessments. It takes dollars off the books, and ultimately it affects county revenues, the property tax stream. So again, the 5-year cycle, the historical 5-year cycle that you've been on, has 2 ratios. Your first ratio in 2022 was 76%, give or take. It adjusted to 54% in 2024, okay? So there was movement in that period. The reason I bring that up, and I wish I could share my PowerPoint with you, I analyzed the 5 years, 2020 to 2025, just to see the impact of those ratios against your revenue stream. The summary statement that I want to make to you this afternoon is there were an additional $2 million that you did not receive in property tax due to the equalization ratio. That's how it hampered your revenue stream in Anderson County, okay? $2.1 million, okay? So there's a movement, if you will, to shorten the cycles to eliminate those ratios, right? Because we're at a place, we need those revenues, okay? So by simply moving from a 5 to a 4-year reappraisal cycle, you eliminate the second ratio, okay? So as it stands today, as we are what you've approved last year, you approved a 4-year reappraisal cycle, okay? State law requires that there still be an equalization or ratio study every 2 years. So you still, with a 4-year plan, you will still have a ratio study in year 2, which is next year, okay? Now, that's the historical reappraisal plan. Last legislative session last year, there were changes or updating to the language in the reappraisal statutes that expanded the reappraisals and allow for a concept known as indexing to occur mid-cycle, okay? Now, in theory, indexing, if the assessor so chose, could actually occur every year. It could occur in years 1, 2, and 3, and then have a full-fledged reappraisal in year 4, okay? That's a very aggressive approach, and we're not there yet, okay? There may be a day in the future when we get there, but we're not there yet. This is all brand new. But as we speak, there are counties that are reappraising this year who have that option available to them for the first time, and the majority of the counties that I work with that are submitting new reappraisal plans are submitting a plan that goes to from a 5 to a 4-year reappraisal with this indexing option in year 2, okay? So the indexing option in and of itself allows that county to update values in year 2 and to eliminate that ratio, okay? So let's back up a little bit. The reason that the ratio exists, it equalizes those annually assessed personal property and public utility assessments, and it's important to mention that. Personal property and public utilities are self-reporting assessments. They are reassessed annually, okay? where real property is a delayed reappraisal, and it only is updated every 4 or 5 years, depending on what cycle you're on, okay? And as I'd already mentioned, anytime that there's a ratio adjustment, an equalization ratio that is applied to those annually assessed assessments, personal property and public utility, it will reduce their assessments, okay? The reason that they do that as a class of property owners, personal property and public utility, said, we love paying our fair share, but we think we're being treated inequitably, okay? Because we're being reassessed every year, we're closer to market at all times. And the courts agreed with them. And the remedy at the time was this ratio adjustment to equalize them with real property. And that's where this is all coming from. But because we've had so much growth, not only in Anderson County, but across the state, it's causing those ratios to be historically low, as I mentioned. Your first ratio was 76, your second ratio was 54. Anderson County has probably never seen ratios that low, okay, in its existence, okay? So that's where we're at, and that's how we've gotten to where we are today. So as I mentioned, over that 5-year period from 20 to 2024, there was $2.1 million in tax revenue that you didn't get the benefit of because of an equalization ratio. So at the time, this time last year, when the assessor brought the new plan forward to you, at the time, the best option was to move from a 5 to a 4, and you approved that, okay? Later last summer, the governor signed the private act that allows for the indexing. The legislature approved it, the governor signed off on it, and now it's the law of the land. So indexing is an option that's available to assessors. So we kind of come full circle. Why are we talking about shortening the cycle, more frequent reappraisals, and indexing? Well, the actual term current market value implies more frequent reevaluation, okay? We have learned, and the experts tell us, even within our technical standards, that it makes best sense to be closer to market value. Your assessed value should be closer to market value when it's feasible, okay? Because the delay in and of itself creates confusion to the taxpayers, okay? In addition to that, appraisal uniformity and equity breaks down over time. And I'm assuming you probably got a few phone calls last year when those notices went out, okay? Because it had been 5 years since the last time that values had been adjusted in Anderson County, okay? And those increases were probably very substantial. I can speak to my own. I live in Blount County. Our last reappraisal, my value of my home went up 73%, so I know what it looks like, okay? You go to the mailbox, you open the notice, that value jumped, okay? Even someone who's worked in it for many, many, many years was shocked by the increase, but I understood the process, and I knew in my case it had been 4 years since it had been updated. But it's very difficult to have that conversation with a taxpayer and explain why that substantial increase. The other part that is confusing for the taxpayer is because they don't understand the certified tax rate process and revenue neutrality. So when they see that large increase, they automatically think their taxes are going up 70, 80, doubling, okay? And that's not the case, because there is going to be a new tax rate that's calculated that will offset that increase, and that's called the certified tax rate. So the more frequent reappraisals, which you've already done, you've shortened to a 4-year. Indexing would be the next step if you chose to go that direction, but the more frequent reappraisals or indexing allow for the updating of those values, which restores that uniformity and equity that is broken down by delaying it over a 5-year period, okay? The more frequent reappraisals and indexing will also, and this is probably the most important statement to this body, more frequent reappraisals and indexing will eliminate the equalization ratio that's applied to personal property and public utility assessments, okay? So if you index in year 2, next year, when you're supposed to have a ratio, the market value of real property will go back to 100%, and it will eliminate the need for a ratio adjustment, okay? In the years past, that turned into real tax dollars for this county. Over the 5-year period, it was $2.1 million, okay? So that's an important thing to keep in mind as we discuss the indexing option. With that in mind, and I've made that comment several times, when we talk about the loss of revenue due to equalization, my next statement is that the viability of the property tax depends solely on the accuracy of the appraisals, okay? It becomes very difficult for you from a budgeting standpoint to budget or to forecast where your revenues are going, because the historical model, you grow and you fall off, and then you rebound a little bit, and then you fall off again, and then you reappraise to get back, okay? So it creates a hardship for you as a body who's trying to approve a budget and forecast what's going on in relationship to the budget, because there's a built-in adjustment that's taking place at least every 2 years, okay? We also believe shortening the cycle, where you had substantial increases over the last 5 years. If you shorten the cycle, even in updating in year 2, the taxpayers are going to get the benefit of a smaller incremental adjustment rather than a large delayed adjustment, okay? When you talk to most folks, the incremental adjustment tends to be more appealing, okay, rather than delaying it and then they're, in essence, blowing it out of the water. And that's what we've seen, or that's what you saw last year. Another thing that really doesn't make any sense at all, why it's attached to the ratio adjustment, is a conversation for another day. But there's a state tax relief program that you have your veterans and your low-income elderly can be eligible for, okay? They receive credits that go towards their property tax payments. That money comes directly from the state, okay? Those payments are adjusted by the ratio. So they're going to receive less subsidy or less credit, if you will, to go towards their property tax payment than they did the year before, okay? So an elderly person, the general calculations, it affects a low-income elderly person about $50. It can affect a veteran as up to $300, okay? By default, when they receive less credit from the state, that effectively creates a tax hike for them as individuals, okay? Without any tax rate adjustment or anything, they have to dig a little deeper in their pocket to pay their property taxes, because they're not receiving the full benefit of the tax relief at the state level. So, as I mentioned, you've already made the adjustment from a 5 to a 4. Absolutely, I applaud you for that. Absolutely a step in the right direction. Now there's an option available to you through the assessor to index in year 2, okay? So that would eliminate the ratios. It would keep tax relief credits whole, if you will. So for that to happen, the assessor is the driver on the reappraisal plan and whether or not you want to index or not, okay? They have the option to choose that. You have to at least be in a 4-year reappraisal cycle or less. There are counties that are currently have moved to a 3-year cycle. There are 3 counties that are moving to a 2-year cycle. Sullivan, Blount, and Knox are actually reappraising every 2 years, which by default will eliminate ratios just by the revaluation of property every 2 years. As I mentioned, it can be implemented with or without indexing, Okay, there's no hard and fast rule that says you have to do it. You have the option to index if you choose to. Again, you have the option to index annually if you chose to. That's an aggressive approach. We're not there yet, okay? Indexing allows values to be adjusted back to market using a market-derived factor based on sales activity within the specific market areas or neighborhoods, okay? Indexing is not a full-fledged countywide reappraisal like you went through last year. It's not a comprehensive reappraisal where you're looking at construction cost, acreage costs, lot pricing, you know, any of the cost structures that are associated with any improvement that may be added to land. That is not what indexing is. Indexing is mathematical by its very nature. Think of it as a multiplier. It's a factor that's just being applied based on sales activity within a specific market area. A factor is determined for that market area. Think of it, it's not a perfect comparison, but think of commission districts. Let's say that each district was a market area, okay? The sales activity within each of those districts could be substantially different, right? One district may be a hot spot. There may be growth and sales activity that's really off the charts. There may be another district that is moving at a much slower pace. So the growth, if you will, could be as much as 20% in a hot spot, but it may only be 3 or 5% in a slower market area, okay? So the factor specific to those districts, and it'll be across the board, there will be a market-specific factor for each area. The factor is then taken and applied to all of the properties to adjust them back to value. It's just mathematical, it's statistical in nature. It's a multiplier, a factor being applied to property value to bring it back to market, okay? Here's another important component of indexing. Anytime, and this is statutory, this is Tennessee law, anytime that values are brought back to 100% or market, if you will, it triggers a new certified tax rate calculation, just like your reappraisal did last year, okay? So if you indexed in year 2, once that project was completed, the assessor would request a new tax rate. Assuming values increase, certified tax rate will decrease, okay? It's a balancing act, if you will. It's also important at this time, we don't think about this in the current environment that we're in, but shortening the cycle is also a benefit if the market were to, there were to be a downturn in the market, okay? We don't think about that right now, but what happens if the value, if I don't think we're going into a recessionary market like we did years ago, but we do think there's going to be a flattening of the market. And if that were the case and sales prices fell below the assessments, if you index in year 2, you also have the option to adjust values down. It's not just adjusting up, you have the option to adjust down to get them in line with the market. Again, it would trigger a certified tax rate. The opposite is true. Values go up, certified rate goes down. If values were to go down, the certified rate would go up, okay, to generate the same levy, total tax levy that was received the year before. So how do we get there, okay? So the assessor obviously discusses his intentions with county leadership. We want broad support, not only with the county, but the cities need to be part of it. The question becomes, are additional resources needed by the assessor and the office to successfully complete a shorter reappraisal cycle? In some cases, that is a real issue. That's something that the assessor will need to discuss with you. Of course, just like last year, the assessor submits a plan for commission approval. After he has your approval, it goes to the Division of Property Assessments under the comptroller so that they can review it for accuracy and completeness. And then once they complete their review, it will go to the State Board of Equalization for final approval, okay? Their meeting is scheduled for April 13th or 14th, okay? We are in a season of reappraisal plans being approved as we speak. Most reappraisal counties were in front of commissions in the month of February, but we are seeing some as we speak through the month of March, okay? It's important to understand you've already submitted a plan last year, but you do have the option to amend your plan. It can be modified and submitted for consideration, okay? So timing is the key, okay? And that decision really lies with the assessor. Does it make sense to go ahead and try to move that plan, or should you wait? That's a decision that the assessor kind of has to hold on to. I will share with you, I was in Bradley County Monday morning speaking to their budget committee, same conversation. They just reappraised last year. They've historically been on a 4-year plan. They've moved forward with a 4-year plan. They are as you can imagine, same kind of conversation about revenue loss and that type thing. They're very interested in the indexing option, but in that case, their assessor said we're not ready to move there. It will be after our next reappraisal. So it does happen, and we again have no problem, and I wanted the assessor to know there's no pressure from us necessarily to move to indexing. We do think it is a viable option that's available to counties now, but a lot of moving parts have to come together. Staffing, skill set, ability, those kind of things need to be in place before you make that final decision, okay? All right, I've done a lot of talking. I'm gonna stop. Any questions, any concerns?
Any questions from Budget Committee? I want Johnny to come and speak as well, but. All right, Johnny, your turn.
I have a quick question. Do we know what Roane County? We don't know yet. They're
No, their commission meetings,
Monday?
I'll be there Monday night.
Okay.
I feel like the indexing's doable, but I think that, we went from a 5 to 4 when we got the Eagle View. That was, under that aerial imagery, was to go from a 5 to a 4. Now this indexing's a whole different, it's separate from that. It's the next 2 years. And what makes this also unique is I've got 5 employees within a 2-year range of retiring. So I'm looking at, I could use 5 individuals, 2 for indexing, 3 for training to learn what the staff that's going to be leaving knows. Somewhere in between there, we could try to make it work, but that's what I'm looking at. I mean, commission's asked me several times, don't leave us hanging. If one year you ever leave, or you've got your retiring employees, make sure that you've got somebody to step up. That's where we are with it. It's just a numbers game. Billy Brown's, in my opinion, best chief deputy in the state of Tennessee. It's going to take 3 to replace him. That's just, or 2 really good ones, and that's just telling you like it is. And that's why I wanted to come to let y'all be thinking about this and how we can approach it together, or I can sit with Robbie or whatever. But I've got that. I can't wait for them to retire and then bring 3 people in and try to train them. It's just too much information loss.
But you're gonna lead us through this, right?
I'm going to try to lead it. Yes, sir. Yes,
I mean,
I will.
I've heard all these words, and
Right, but
That's a
but
lot of
all
stuff.
rolls back down on me. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the way but I'm telling you what, for me to feel comfortable with what it would take to get through the indexing would be 2 additional employees and 2 vehicles. If I'm going to prepare for 2 years down the road, which that's what I'd like for this committee to help me with, is I'm going to need 3. Now, when the people retire, I wouldn't replace them, but that's just for training. We do training all the time with TIAAO, TNAAO, with CTAS, with the Division of Property Assessments in their classes, but it's all different when you get in and actually doing the work.
Commissioner Palmer.
So Johnny, when you say it's doable, the plan, you think you can get the plan together and get it through the approval process?
Plan's already, Billy's
It's
already
done?
finished the plan.
Okay.
The plan's ready, it's just, I guess the funding.
And then we have to see what Roane County's gonna do as well.
If we pass it and Roane County don't, then we have to back off and just wait.
Okay,
Same thing if they pass it and we don't, they won't be able to move forward as well, I don't think, with they gave. Unless there's some changes with the law because it was passed, that, you know, we gotta stay on the same cycle for the city of Oak Ridge.
okay, Mayor.
So that's another caveat that's kinda, we gotta, another hurdle.
Mayor Frank.
Yeah, I just have a quick question, I guess, for Gabe, probably for Gabe, maybe Johnny. So Gabe, you said that this is a mathematical factor, and that we're looking at the county in zones, so we're just gonna be looking at the sales. So this won't be going out and actually looking at, am I misunderstanding? I mean, it sounded to me like we're gonna be in the office looking at the sales, applying that mathematical factor, and is that something where the state is gonna be helping us? Is it just all on our locals? How is that mathematical factor gonna come about? Cause it's not a reappraisal, it's looking at the existing sales, correct?
Right. First response is the importance of the field work never diminishes.
Okay,
So the sales analysis, the analysis of the sales data probably increases much more than it may have in the past. Okay? So with that in mind, you want to make sure that what's on the ground is correct and represents the assessment and what the sale was accounting for. The second part of your question, yeah, the Division of Property Assessments is going to be directly involved with the analysis. We don't necessarily think the math part of it is very difficult, okay? But it is involved. There is an analysis. Johnny has access to a piece of software right now that's directly attached to his mass appraisal software that will pull that sales data out of it and actually delineate it based on these different market areas and tell you what kind of factor you're looking at. But it's vitally important that the data is correct. We've got to scrub the data, if you will. So the field work never goes away. It's still a continuous review process. The data has to be correct. We're going to scrub the sales information and make sure that, is this a good arm's length transaction where there's a willing seller and a willing buyer involved in this, or was there some distress in the sale that disqualifies it? Those are kind of the analysis, components of the analysis that they have to take into consideration. But yes, the DPA will be involved in it. They will have a hand in it, but ultimately the decision falls on Johnny.
Anyone on the committee have any more questions? Commissioner Manager.
So I guess I'm a little confused. I understand what you're saying about the field work is important, but I guess I'm with the mayor. I'm thinking this is a mathematical calculation. I know you said you had to scrub the data, but what would you be looking for in that?
Well, improvements historically have just shown up on property that may not have been accounted for. Okay, there's some people escape or sidestep the permit process, and they add things on their property. So when it sells, that sale triggers, especially if the sale is substantially more than what a property is currently assessed for, it will throw up a red flag where there might need to be kind of, let's look a little closer at this property to make sure everything's been accounted for. A basic example that I can give you is a house may be built with an unfinished basement. Well, the assessor doesn't go inside houses. And then maybe 3 to 5 years later, that property sells, and that sale's inflated. And the thought process is, what is causing, is this just an indication of pure square foot pricing? But when you look at that listing, if you will, sometimes you can see that basement has been finished. That would be one of those things where you're looking to make sure what's being assessed is absolutely correct, so that the sale represents what's physically on the property, okay? But then there becomes an analysis of those sales, not just an individual sale, but a grouping of sales within that market area.
So in that case, would that data point be thrown out and not,
Yes
not
and
not
no.
factored into the calculation?
Yes and no, depending on what the scenario was.
Okay.
It goes both ways. In some cases, there may have been improvements that were raised or demolished that are no longer there. It's truly an updating of the record to make sure the record is truly representing the actual dollars that were spent in the sale price.
But not necessarily a technical reappraisal of a
No,
singular piece of property?
No, they are not. In a comprehensive reappraisal like you did last year, they literally touched every cost and component of the value, okay? Price per square foot, for the construction, for the homes and the commercial industrial properties, the pricing structure for the acreage tracts and the subdivision lots, and all of those individual characteristics that are part of the valuation process. Indexing is not that at all.
Okay.
So,
Any further questions from the committee? Rob?
so that's what shouldn't we have the most up-to-date information with the appraisal last year, and are we basically just scrubbing the sales?
It's ever changing, but yes, I mean, the improvement, the properties are ever changing, okay? I'm sure that we wouldn't have to drive far to find a property that has changed since the last time they reviewed it.
Sure, and any addition like that can be seen, or Eagle View software should be picking up.
Correct. Yeah, Eagle View is going to change the game because, first of all, you have the aerial photography that will give you the ability to see all sides of it. But also, in a couple of years, it has a built-in component within the program that will, and I don't want to get too technical, but it will it will overlay the photo on top of the property record. And if there is a structure, an outline of a improvement that is not being assessed, it will flag that parcel, which will prompt them to go and revisit it and make sure that everything's been accounted for.
I mentioned that when we did it's called Change Finder.
It's a cheat sheet is what it is, but it's a good one.
Any other questions from committee? I know we have the Rocky Top City Manager, Mike Ellis, with us, and Mr. Heeman from the Oak Ridge City Management. Either one of y'all want to ask any questions or address the committee or anything?
I would.
If you would step up to, Robbie, let him borrow your microphone, if you would, please.
Thank you. Randy Heeman, City Manager, City of Oak Ridge, and I'm just new to this and have just read the information and appreciate the presentation. I'm curious about if you had, I'm thinking in terms of a company like Centrus, where we could have some pretty large fluctuation, and have you experienced where there's a lot of industrial growth? I mean, we've got a lot of industrial growth in Clinton, in Oak Ridge, and how that would impact that. Could you run into some fairly large numbers, positive numbers with indexing on industrial?
Yeah, the market is going to dictate the factor, okay? So as specific markets outpace the rest of the county or the city for that case, it would be accounted for. The benefit of a shorter reappraisal and indexing is you get to capture those assessment dollars earlier, sooner, which puts that revenue in the pot. Whereas if you delay, because it's important to mention this, with the traditional 4-year plan that you're on right now, quite frankly, anything that has sold since the last reappraisal is locked in at the reappraisal value. You're not at liberty, the assessor doesn't have the authority to adjust them back to market, okay? So if he valued a property in the reassessment at, say, $300,000, and a sale came through today for $400,000, without indexing, it sits at $300,000 until 2029. There's no authority to do it. The same is true with construction costs. Over the cycle, if you go and pick up a new house today, you're valuing it as though it was built January 1st of 2025 when you reappraised. You have no authority to adjust the value mid-cycle. The only way you can do that is with an indexing option. And that allows you to update the sales data and the cost structure in that second, or you're going to update the sales data to capture that in that indexing year.
You might want to mention about the ratio Mr. Hingham was asking about Sanford's. It can affect if a tax rate comes in, appeals that property, that ratio will be added.
Yeah, there's also a provision in our law that allows an appellant if they take a evaluation appeal before the State Board of Equalization, and there is a ratio, that the county has a ratio, they can ask for that ratio to be applied on top of any adjustment that they get to their value. Okay? So that's another factor, if you will, that takes money off the books.
Any more questions? Commissioner
I
Coleman?
don't have a question, I just have a statement for, maybe for Johnny. Sounds like you are looking at a succession plan. Could you perhaps, you were talking about needing employees, that sort of thing. Can you perhaps lay that out for us? Not tonight, but at some point.
Sure.
How many employees do you need to do this? And if you have some that's gonna be leaving, then what's your plan to replace them? We probably need to get a little bit more detail on that. That'd be helpful. Thank you.
Any more questions or discussion? Anyone on committee want to take any action on this at this time?
Do you need any?
I wouldn't recommend anything. This is all
Yeah, Mr. Alley, do you?
all swirling around.
Yeah, I mean, we've had to make all these decisions the last 2 to 3 weeks. We weren't aware, nor was Molly and Ron, that we had the option of updating or amending our plan to include indexing. But we're going to the 4-year, that's when we eliminated one of the ratio years, and going to this index. And if y'all decide that I do that, then the other ratio, the second ratio year will be gone. There won't be a ratio anymore.
Johnny, does this have to be done this month? Right.
It has to be done this month, right, to get this. I don't know how we could make it, because it's gotta go to the Division of Property Assessments for approval.
Which is April 13th, right? That meeting is April 13th or
No,
14th?
No, they'll have to go to the division before then, but I believe the state board meets the 13th or something.
Let me qualify that statement. The State Board of Equalization meets quarterly. So you're going to have a April, August, and October meeting. Historically, reappraisal plans are approved in the April meeting, okay? It's not a all or nothing. There are options. We encourage you, if you are planning to move in that direction, it's probably better from a timing standpoint to try to get it in front of the board in April, but we understand that's not always possible.
So if if we miss April, we have to wait till August.
Correct. They don't meet monthly.
Are you ready for an April meeting?
I am, yeah, we've got a plan ready.
So
I'll have
that-
to get the information that you wanted together.
Oh,
I'll be
Commissioner
ready
Medley.
tomorrow.
And I think my question then is, also, we're a little tied to Roane County because of Oak Ridge. So if Roane County, even if we got this, if we got it to the board, if Roane County didn't, we wouldn't be able to do this
I spoke to them
until.
today, they're ready, but they meet a week ahead of our commission, they meet on the 9th.
Monday.
Okay,
Yeah, 9th, I think.
So they'll vote on it on
On Monday.
Monday, and then our commission meeting's the following
Monday.
All right.
And then if we could both go together not together, but at the same meeting in April.
Yes,
Okay,
it has to because
Okay.
we share Oak Ridge.
okay.
Do we have to worry about Rocky Top and Campbell County?
No, I don't think.
Different situation?
Same thing, yeah, because then that's against two different.
That's right.
Okay.
Okay.
You can make a recommendation to the commission based on Brown counties as well, you know, if they pass.
Okay.
Because if they pass and we don't, then we're holding them up.
Mhm.
So would a recommendation from this committee be appropriate to full commission?
Everything works out, yes. We get the minimum, we need to complete the task, and we, like I said, we can talk about that.
Oh,
So, the mayor, thank you.
Oh, Mayor, I'm sorry.
Does it, Gabe, does it require a resolution or how?
Yeah, it's just like last year. New plan, memorandum of understanding, and a resolution.
Now, Johnny, you had already spoken to the law director about a resolution, or we're going to?
Well, I spoke to him because I didn't know if he was gonna have to, this 4 or 5 days.
Okay.
Maybe not, we've got one already prepared.
You do have a resolution?
Yeah, it's finished.
And an MOU and all that ready?
It's all ready.
Man, y'all been,
It really just adds
You've
with
been getting-
indexing is
Okay.
really what you're adding, but it needs to be in there.
Sound like a no-brainer to me.
yeah. Do we need to make a motion? or-
make a motion that we recommend indexing for Anderson County, to pass the resolution to index.
You got a resolution number on that yet?
Not yet.
Okay. Commissioner Palmer moves to approve the indexing. Just leave it simple.
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Vandergriff. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Johnny and
Yeah.
Kelly, thank you very much.
Thank you
for
very much.
All that hard work. Thank you for coming
Thank you.
and shedding some light on this
Yes.
difficult subject. And
Next item on the agenda, grant applications.
thank you guys for coming,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Heeman, Mr. Ellis.
We have four grant applications, one AVOCA grant, a drug court grant, and the juvenile grant all have no match, and one solid waste grant that is a 40% match
A little lost.
for technical assistance grant planning.
I'm,
Is that-
These are just for
I'm
approval to
sorry.
apply
Okay,
for the
okay.
grants as well.
okay. A motion to approve.
Commissioner Vandergriff moves to approve the grant applications.
Hey, I've got 5, I'm sorry. 36 is the fifth one, tourism, for a 50/50 grant, 30/30 required match. There was 5 grants.
Yeah, we have,
Sorry, I
There's
said
5.
4.
I'll second that motion. I have a question.
seconded by Commissioner Palmer.
Where will the matching for the tourism one come from
Their fund
tourism?
balance, yeah.
Okay, and what about the solid waste one?
Same.
Same?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
It'll come from their funds, yes.
From their funds, okay.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Motion carried. 26, 27 proposed budgets that
Okay.
have been received. Go ahead, Robbie.
I gave you all a new handout. When we did the agenda, didn't have all the budgets. I still don't have all the budgets. They're highlighted in orange. But I did put last year's numbers in those just to kind of get a close idea. I doubt they'll go up much. If some could though, because EMS is a larger budget that we don't have prepared yet. But as you can see on the very last page, under the fiscal year 2027 proposed revenue and expenses, currently with all the requests that we have, we're at deficit of $3,081,724. So we have some work to do. And we did receive, anything I've highlighted in yellow is, needs to come to the budget hearings. So there's quite a few of those. They asked for increases. And there could be more. So we haven't scheduled a budget hearing meeting yet that I'm aware of. So we may want to schedule something separate as far as that goes.
Probably be a good idea.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Commissioner Vandergriff.
Robbie, I know you said this, but I was looking at the paper and not listening
Yeah,
to what
sure.
you said. So some of these are some of these you haven't received, some
I
of
haven't
these line
received anything I
items
highlighted in orange, or if I have received and I hadn't gotten to them yet, I got a couple today.
in orange.
The orange highlights, the yellow highlights are.
Oh, okay,
Or
I'm sorry.
the
I'm
budgets.
I'm blind
Looks
and it
more
looks
like red.
red to me.
Oh, it's red, okay, okay.
Burn orange then.
Okay, red, the red you haven't received.
The other color besides yellow and white.
So you just put a projection in there?
The yellow is increases in budget that they're asking for. They didn't follow the budget guidelines, basically. They put raises in for their employees or a new position.
They're gonna have to appear before us.
They need to, and I don't make those decisions. Yep. And there are ones in red, in the fourth column, increase in budget. We do have some that actually cut their budget. So, and a lot of times that ends up being benefits. There's a different, it's usually benefit related.
So you want us to vote on any of this?
I don't think
tonight?
you have to.
We just need to set a schedule for the hearings.
If we want to do a budget hearings and, or if you want anybody, if we want to ask the departments to do something different,
So, Robbie, you said that some of these have already cut their budget.
they didn't really cut a lot of that, like county commission's the very first one. It's a $13,497 decrease. Well, I know the county commissioners got the CTAS raise for elected officials this year is 2.63%, which is probably the lowest I've ever seen it. But I figured those in, so that tells me that it's probably a benefit. It could even be when Commissioner McNabb and Commissioner Mays change places, somebody elected something. It's usually somebody's electing something different in benefits. Because, a gold plan is like $17,000 and a gold family 17 and a single is possibly 5. So there's a big difference there. But I don't think we cut anything in county commission we added to it, so that would have added benefits of Social Security, retirement, Medicare, but it had to be a benefit change. I know the Board of Equalization, and Johnny was just in here, but I did cut that a little myself because we haven't used anywhere near $31,000 in the last 10 years, and last year would have been the biggest need for that money, and we didn't come nowhere near that, so I cut it a little bit.
So let me ask you a hypothetical.
Yeah.
If everyone was to cut their budget 1%, what kind of revenue would that generate?
Close to $500,000 if we could get that kind of buy-in. That's based on last year's budget, original budget of $45,560,996. That was what we budgeted last year for all the departments. This year we're at $47,974,323. So we're looking at 500 or so.
So hypothetically speaking, we would need everyone to cut their budget 6%
To get 3 million.
to get 3 million.
If we could get there, yeah.
Yeah. Hypothetically.
Yeah, I didn't increase revenue a lot because honestly, we're just not seeing it in revenues yet. I'm going to look at each revenue code before next month's meeting, and I probably will make some adjustments there. I did increase sales tax is the only one because I can see that we've increased there. But property tax, I will say we did go, compared to last February, we are ahead now. So, and that's encouraging. Hopefully we'll finish well the next 4 months to get, before we can increase that possibly.
How could we go about encouraging departments to go back and look and see if they can cut their budget anywhere between 1% and 3%?
You can make that a motion, just ask them to go back to the drawing board. We did that 2 or 3 years ago. We put that in the budget guidelines, just ask each department to cut 1%, 1.5% that year. If you're interested in something, I would just make that as a motion and I'll send out a memo tomorrow.
and just see
I
what
mean, we
can
have some
do.
departments that are so small,
I know,
Right,
I
right.
know,
it's salary and benefits. I doubt they can cut.
exactly. That's why I said 1 to 3, if any. So you could help them, you could help departments look and see where they could cut.
Sure.
I'll make that motion.
Motion being,
Make a motion to reevaluate the proposed budget with a 2% decrease.
What was the percentage?
The 2%.
I'll second that.
motion by Commissioner Vandergrift to request each submitted budget to be decreased by 2%. Seconded by Commissioner Palmer. Any discussion?
And I'll just say this, just to see if we can generate some revenue, because if you look over this, there are lots of salary increases requested here. And that money's got to come from 1 of 2 places, either property taxes or here, or a revenue. We have to have a revenue source for that.
Yeah.
We're working $3 million in the hole, so we need to look at our revenue.
And typically, I don't put, we do have contract increases. We have to pay those
Sure.
because they're built in, even with the contract agreements.
Yeah, I see
I don't
that
usually bring
here.
those to you all. I just go ahead and approve those myself. But
I
what
think
I'm
we
bringing you
realize
is
that there's-
salary and
Yeah, I
new
think we
position.
realize there's smaller departments that just
Yeah.
can't not cut a budget. And there's some contractual obligations that we have, but
Robbie, could these be questions that could be addressed during the budget hearings, or not everybody would be coming to a budget
Right.
hearing, so I
Well-
guess these is getting everybody.
Yeah, I would think it would be good to send out something to ask them to submit if they could cut possibly. I mean, I'm sure some departments aren't going to be able to, but we wouldn't be speaking to everybody in a budget hearing for that to happen, so.
And what will you do? Just send out an email to all the departments, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dr.
If
Parrott.
this passes.
Hey, just to let you know, we got our first thing from the state, and so we're gonna have to use, they're gonna require us to use $724,000 for raises this coming year. So that, we're looking at
Yeah.
maybe 2%, but we're gonna have to cut positions to get that. So we're looking at cutting positions this year, looks like we did last year, to get that raise. So property tax, we're about 145,000 down on property tax where we were last year. We're up on sales tax, but we were about 800,000 short last year on property tax, so we don't know where that's gonna go, so we'll let you know. We got our first thing, but they've still got the numbers all screwed up. We won't have some good numbers till probably April, so. we'll
I
let
think
you
we're
know.
dealing with a lot of unknowns right now.
Yeah.
So I just,
Yep.
I'm kind of under the same mindset as Commissioner Vandergrift. Let's just look and see where we can trim some fat and see what we can generate that way before we start talking about all of these
Well,
other needs.
Something that affects the school budget and all the budgets is we don't have our certified TCRS rate yet, or matching rate. They give us that every year in April.
Yeah.
And that could go up, which could mean, a couple
Could mean more money.
$100,000s possibly. And we had our first Board of Trustees meeting today, and our advisor asked for optimistic 9% increase in the medium one was 14% increase in our benefits. So,
And the benefits, medium's 14% increase.
and 19 was the high. But we get that every year. I just want to start off with saying that, so.
Okay.
But yes, I mean, everybody's wanting more money, so.
Thank you.
We're not gonna new positions, we're not gonna do any next year, so we're gonna have to, we gotta cut, because the problem is the state gives us money for the teachers, but they don't ever give us anything for the classified, and our board's not gonna give, I mean, our classified live on anything anyway, so their board's not gonna give that, so we look at a 2% pay raise, for ours, and that would be about 50 cents on the, for everything, it's about 1.8 million. So if we're hoping we get about 900,000 from the state, so we've got to figure out how to cut about another 900,000 to get that raise. But now, if we can get property tax in, sales taxes up, we're up about 400 and something thousand, so almost 500,000, so that would help offset that. But if our property tax comes in $500,000 short, then we lose it all. That's my problem.
We haven't even taken Ted's yet.
Yeah. So he gives us sales tax and then he takes it back.
And I don't do that.
He doesn't do that, but all the TIF money comes out of that, so we look like we're doing good, and then, it's $200,000 to $300,000 that comes out for TIFs.
Sure.
So, thank you. Appreciate it.
Any further discussion?
Oh, motion on the table.
Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no.
No.
Show of hands, all in favor, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 to 1. Motion carries.
I just think that's a little premature to ask for a 2% deduction at this point.
My second thing on budgets is I did include the annual budget memo from the state, just for your all's reading pleasure, which they ask, obviously always ask for us to be completed by June 30th, and it just talks about the steps if you don't complete it by then. So I got this last week, so I wanted to share it with you all.
All right. Moving on, Fund 127. Channel 95.
And you know what, if we don't, we can do this, I was telling Shane this earlier, if we want to take this up at the hearings, we can. This is kind of budget related. Fund 127 is funded by cable TV tax, and that keeps going down. So last year we budgeted 146,000 and we only received 115,000. It's even less this year. So they are having, always every year they have a shortfall, so they have got $20,500 left of fund balance, which we will not make it next year with that. So, and I know how commission and really the community depend, likes ACTV as far as meetings and ball games, and so they were in the general fund, but when cable TV franchise tax was, we were producing a lot more revenue, they could support their sales, and they were even actually making revenue. So, but now they can't. So it could go back to the general fund, or we could give them a higher percentage of the cable tax, which I'm not 100% sure how that's divided up, but I should have had that prepared and I didn't. But it's just something I wanted to put on our radar, and I will put this on the budget hearings as well for us to discuss that then. And so we don't really have to make any kind of decision tonight because they're in 127 and for the remainder of the year. It's kind of like we did with EMS when we moved them from 118 to 101. It would be that kind of a move. Or we can keep them there and give them more money.
Commissioner Vandrick.
So what makes up the cable tax? Is it just purely like
I guess customers
cable
paying.
subscribers?
Yes.
So is it just cable, or is it the internet portion of the cable companies, or is it I think we might have an answer in the back. Shane, is it okay? Yeah, come up to.
Yes, it's part of the, I believe we got, Rob, you can correct me, but I think we got 5% of the franchise fee is what it came up to. It started at 2%, and now it's 5%. And it doesn't cover, internet subscription's not covered. It's only cable. When they built it,
even
I
if
think
it's the cable company?
It's Comcast cable franchise fee.
Okay.
I believe that's all. It's from Comcast, correct?
So the reason that I ask is my family just got notification that we're losing our internet because we have DSL. And so I guess AT&T is doing away with the copper phone lines. So we will not have internet after October 1st.
So cable will be the only
So,
option.
so the cable would be the only option that we would have. So that's basically our whole area
Yeah.
of where I live. So I was curious as to if it covered the internet portion, would that generate a little bit more revenue? Because I'm sure we're not the only people who are in this situation.
Yeah, I believe that that would have to be like a renegotiated thing in a contract. Currently, our contract, and I think it's every 10 years, I'm not sure, is that what it is? Every 10 years, they renegotiate the Comcast franchise fee. And the last time they did it, it was only covering cable subscriptions. I think that relates back to like how you're supposed to have the station within the, by law, supposed to have Comcast is supposed to supply for the local stations, and they built it in to support that.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's what we know on it. And but this does, you know, we cover a lot. So you know, if we do go to the general fund, we'd like to at least get what we got beforehand or close to it. And I think we got some seasonal help, and we have several online bills we have to pay a year. I mean, probably $5,000 for a streaming service, another $5,000 to a TVU, which allows us to stream live. There's several things that we have through it. So help us run as we are running now. Probably cover 200 to 250 unique recordings every year. Like, 84 meetings plus whatever else, hearings and et cetera. So we've worked it up there. So we'd like to continue on, but I'm not sure how that works as far as a franchise fee. I'm not sure if that's something down the line when this one's done that we end up trying to renegotiate with them and get internet. I'm not even sure if that's possible. I just knew it started in cable, and that's where we stand right now. So that's, as Robbie said, that's where we've reached kind of a shortfall. But I'm not sure. We only got 5%. I don't know if there's more goes to it and where, like you were saying, where it goes to. So we'll just see where it goes, and I guess be at the budget hearings and try to figure this out.
Thank you. So this can wait till budget hearings, right, Robbie?
Yes.
Okay.
Next item, unfinished business. I don't think we have any on the agenda. Next item. No, unfinished. You want to do these amendments before the sheriff, or, okay. Under new business, you have two new amendments, new business 1.
Okay, both are from the Animal Care and Control. One is a transfer of $904 to increase staff development from travel and dues and membership, and the other is a decreasing restricted funds $3,500 for other supplies and materials for $3,500.
Do we have a motion? Commissioner Allen moves to approve new business 1 and new business 2 as a group. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner White. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried. Next item, Sheriff Barker, budget proposal for salaries. You have the floor, Sheriff.
So, I just want to give you guys just a brief update of what we are seeing. Since we spoke at last budget meeting, we've had some other departures. Another dispatcher has left to go to the private sector. We lost a second SRO to the city of Oak Ridge. And again, that was the pay. And then we've had a deputy who is leaving us for another sheriff's office, Sevier County. So we're continuing to see people leaving, and I'm confident, because I've had meetings with a lot of budget committee members individually about what we're working on, what we're looking at. So I'm very comfortable in the fact that we're doing that. But what I want to propose is this: we are anticipating having roughly just a hair over $800,000 that will be returned to county government that will be unspent. And it's a combination of line items, with the bulk of it coming from salary that we have not spent. We've looked, and we're wanting to do one-time retention bonus for our current deputies that are with us. I think Chief Sharp just handed out the numbers on that. And what we think will happen there is this is what we're proposing. We're asking for Budget Committee to put this to a vote. It will be about $560,000, I think it was, some change. And this retention bonus, there's a breakdown on that list, who would get what. And in addition to that, we would not pay that out until after the new budget year to ensure they stay with us for the remainder of this fiscal year. And while Budget and County Commission continue to work on, obviously, all the things we're seeing here tonight. So that is my proposal, when we are willing to answer any questions that you may have.
So Robbie, just a quick question. Of the proposed 800,000 rollover, if my memory's right, we would take 30% of that off the top and roll that into capital funds, right?
The rollover for the total of the general fund balance, yes. From the change, that's from the change in unassigned fund balance from year to year, not just rollover, if the unassigned fund balance increases.
So if the Sheriff's Department is anticipating a $800,000 rollover, 30% of that would go into?
It's possible. The rollover for expenditures is not the only thing that makes up so does the revenues. So if we have like property taxes, for example, if we budget 15 million there and we only collect 13, then we're $2 million short. So it's revenue and expenditures offsetting that makes up the rollover for the general fund.
Okay, because I mean, if it was the 800,000, roughly 30% is going to be what, a little over 250,000.
Would roll into.
If my
yeah.
quick math is decent. So what they're asking for is about 200,000 that would have gone back into general fund. Am I thinking about that right?
Yes, with the rollover, possibly.
Okay.
Possibly, yes.
Possibly, okay.
So Chief Sharp just corrected me. It would be the third week of June, not July, so it would come out of this budget, obviously. So.
And to that point, we have a budget meeting in June, which we would have to get all budget codes, especially payroll. You see a lot of amendments in June that are fixing payroll codes. We'll know exactly where they're at in June as far as rollover goes for their budget codes, their payroll codes especially.
So does the 800,000 sound right?
I haven't looked at it. I mean, honestly, Shane called me today and Kenny came by today, and I have not looked at any of their budget. I haven't anticipated either the payroll or anything yet.
To that point, it's no secret that if we had 400,000 as opposed to 800,000, we would adjust that accordingly, right? I mean, it's not something. It gives us we understand that potentially is a moving target in the sense that it may not be 800,000.
So you would adjust the 3,200?
Of course.
Okay.
I mean, if we don't have it, we don't have it.
Right.
Commissioner Vander.
Sorry. So there is a little sense of urgency to this because, again, we are kind of losing, we are losing officers every day. And
It feels like it.
And so we need something to give some hope.
Yeah, so the whole purpose of this is that it doesn't require budget and or commission to find money. This is money you guys have already budgeted to us, right? It does require, my understanding, because it's coming out of something other than simply salary codes, that has to be approved by budget and then approved by full commission. This is, I don't really want to use this analogy, I'll tell you this, I'm confident in this body and in full commission. I believe we're gonna get somewhere, right? But this is in the meantime to show our employees, hang on. And this is something we can do to give them, almost a good faith effort and or give them a reason to stick around and see this through with us. Because at the end of the day, that's what we're asking them to do. Don't go chasing a higher hourly wage and throwing away everything that they've built and established here.
Commissioner McNabb.
I'd just like to say I appreciate the work on this. This makes a lot of sense to me. I'm in full support of this. I think the men and women of the Sheriff's Department deserve this. This is a creative solution while we continue to do the work. So to me, it's a no-brainer, especially the money was already allocated and you're finding a creative way to, again, tell them that we're working through this. So I'd like to make a motion that we approve this as stated for the Sheriff's plan.
Commissioner McNabb moves to approve. Do we have a second?
I will also second that.
Second by Commissioner Vandergrift. Any discussion?
I have a discussion.
Commissioner Palmer.
It's my understanding that the crisis and the bleeding is in the patrol and the jailers, the deputies. And so I have no problem with doing something, a retention bonus for those folks, but I do have a problem for the whole department. I'm just not prepared to do that for the entire department. I would be willing to offer an amendment that we do this $3,200 for the patrol, for the deputies, excluding the admin, clerks, whatever's in the administration, and anything above a captain level. Exclude those and just, I have no problem doing this for the patrol and for the deputies. I cannot vote for this for the entire department. And I'd like to offer that as an amendment.
Commissioner Palmer moves to amend the motion to only include employees who are not administrative. So what's your definition of administrative?
I guess the ones that are listed on here is admin. Not knowing there's some admin on here.
I think that's where I'm confused. I don't understand.
So I will say, let me one thing that could be that I will caution you about is you may have someone who has an administrative role, but doesn't hold the rank of anything, or it could be a corporal rank or a sergeant's rank. That could be considered, but would be considered in an administrative role. That's my 2 cents.
Okay. We're looking at 181, if I'm reading that correctly, employees. I really want to stop the bleeding. I really want to look at just the patrol and the jail staff. So I can't, for those that are, captain and above, and I don't know what else to call them other than the administrative or clerk.
That's fine if we're going to say it by rank. Okay. And the reason I'm pointing that out is because I have people who are in administrative roles that don't hold rank.
Okay.
Like Deputy Urban there at the jail who does her warrants.
Okay.
She has, I guess, technically an administrative role. She has been called out to fill in on the floor.
Is that a salary code? Is there a salary code that would identify just these?
No. It's just her assignment. She's in charge of our warrants.
But I mean, for what I'm asking for, is that a salary code, just the patrol and the jail staff, the deputies? Is that a particular code, so you'll know who I'm talking about?
At the detention facility, there could be some.
They only have one payroll code and overtime.
That's what I mean, okay.
So there could be some admin, I don't honestly know that.
Okay.
At the operations, there are admin codes for
Okay.
records and I think one other one.
So the amended motion is to remove, are you taking out the admin part, or are we still trying to figure out who the admin are?
Yeah, I don't know who the admin are. I mean, for example, I'm sorry.
You
For
can do it.
example, we have a tech administrator,
Yeah,
but,
he's a deputy sheriff.
yeah. So,
Hang on
I
just a
really
second.
want to get the patrol officers and the jailers, the ones that are critical mass, the ones that's really where the blood is coming out.
So are you wanting to do this by
I
rank?
want to, I guess so.
Okay, and
Is that
what rank are you wanting to cut it off
Um,
at?
Captain and above, no, below a captain.
Captain and above, no. Lieutenant and below, yes.
Okay, yep, I guess so. Yep.
All right. so
I'm
commi-
sorry, I'm not familiar with your ranking.
That's all right.
Sorry.
Well, and the reason I'm asking is, I get to vote on this if it's lieutenant and below. And if it's captain and above, then I'm gonna have to
Let
abstain.
me adjust
No,
that. No, I'm just
I
kidding.
think I like it the way you did it.
Okay.
Lieutenant and below.
Okay.
That's the amended motion that's on the table. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Commissioner Allen.
Add something.
Any discussion? Commissioner Allen, go ahead, sir.
I know that we have some bleeding that we need to stop very, very quickly. And we have just seen this. So if there is a way that, maybe we have already worked it out, if there is a way that we could maybe delineate carefully which will have the raises or not.
I'm sorry, sir, eliminate what
Maybe,
now?
maybe we should carefully look at and find a way to delineate which people get raises, which people get these bonuses and not. But right now, we're kind of confused, it seems like to me, that we don't know who is getting what here. So maybe we should find out exactly who gets these, bonuses. 'Cause right now, we really don't know that.
Well, I think the rank cleared that up.
and
If we have that understood carefully, fine, but
Yeah.
we don't know that.
Yeah, the ranking clears it up. And also, this is just to take care of an immediate
Yes.
problem. We still have to work on getting raises for this
Sure.
department. A good raise, something that they can work with and that will help us keep them from leaving.
Commissioner McNabb.
I've just offered some comments on this discussion. I would vote against that amendment. The simple fact that I really do believe that our sheriff's department is being ran better right now than it ever has before. You look around, you can watch the news in some of these other counties with some of the lawsuits, some of the tragedies they have. That is not happening here on any type of scale. My day job, I work closely with the sheriff's office as far as I've seen different periods where maybe leadership, we just have a strong leadership team right now is what I would say. And as far as what happens in the actual budget, there's going to be plenty of discussion for that as far as what we decide to do. But I think this is a good thing to do. I think everyone deserves it. It's being ran very, very well, and it's a sign of goodwill while we continue these negotiations. So I would vote against that amendment. I think everyone deserves it at this point. So.
Do you have something? No.
Any further discussion on the amendment?
I would just say this. I have complete confidence in the leadership as well. This is not any kind of statement against the sheriff's department, you, or any of your people. This is just purely a money issue for me, a revenue issue, money issue. And I think your people do deserve it. But I think there's a whole lot of other county employees that deserve it also. And I understand apples and oranges, that sort of thing. But when I look at this and I see all these other, and I'll use EMS, for instance. We've got to do something about about EMS and other departments as well. So it has nothing to do with what I think you're worth or anything like that. It is simply, if you don't have the money, you don't have the money. We're looking at a $3 million deficit. I think we can work through this. This will stop the bleeding. My amendment will stop the bleeding, and then we can build a pay structure, work on getting raises, all that sort of thing. Just wanted to clarify that for my friends at the Sheriff's Department.
No, I mean, I completely understand that.
Okay.
And look, it's tough. It's a tough thing. And to your point about having to be concerned about all county employees, as a county commissioner, I understand that, because when it comes to the sheriff's office, I worry about all my employees.
I know.
I don't segregate them. They're all deputies, in my opinion. So that's so I understand that. I understand that position.
I admire you being here fighting for your employees.
And at the
Thank
end
you.
of the day, at the end of the day, this we talked about numbers as far as what we've returned in the last 7 years, $8.5 million. We anticipate it to be here over 800,000 this year. We just believe, because we told you guys, because I know, because I've had the conversations with a lot of you guys up here, where we talked about going back and finding other things outside the box. And this is what we came up with, and I know you guys have worked on some stuff, because you shared it with me, and shared it with my staff, and so I'm confident we're going in the right direction. And this just seemed like a smart thing to do third week in June, offer this to try to, if we got somebody who's iffy about bouncing, because they don't have a good feeling about raises moving forward, watching the counties around us, this might be just enough to see this thing through with us.
Okay.
Any further discussion on the amendment? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no.
No.
Those voting aye, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3. All voting no, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3. Motion fails. Back on the original motion as presented. Any further discussion on that one?
If you'll give me just
Go
another
right ahead.
opportunity to speak. I have no problem with this going to full commission, but I will be advocating at full commission for the same amendment. I just want that to be known.
Understood?
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. 1 abstention. That'll be me. Found out in Nashville last week, I've got to abstain. Motion carries.
Can I add one thing? Should we add to the motion to commission that funding will be evaluated again in June as far as the rollover? I mean, I think that's important because that could make these less if possibly.
I mean, that is, if that's what you guys have to do, I get it. But I mean, I think I'm standing here telling you that I understand.
Oh, no, but I just think for transparency, it's the best thing to do.
So, you made the motion.
Could you clarify?
No, I'm just saying, Sheriff Barker stood up here and talked about if they didn't have 800,000 in rollover, it was less, they would evaluate, they would lower. Yeah, and that's what I'm just saying, I think I would add that to the motion, just because I think that's
Oh. That makes sense.
important.
I mean, I'm fine with that. That's the director. Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
advice of the.
I'm okay with that as the second on that, if we didn't, if the $800,000 mark was not met, then there would be some reevaluation. But if it is, then we're good to go.
Yep. No, it's just,
Clarification.
Clarifying the motion. The amount of the retention bonus is going to be determined by what is actually rolled over.
Any further business coming before the committee? Commissioner White? We are adjourned.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.